Alright, so this time out we were on the Mississippi River going along the Mississippi River looking for a bite, and we kind of found one. Now we've been in a hardcore drought needing rain for a very long time, but knowing that it finally rained, and knowing that it made the fishing really hard, so we really had to work for what fish we got. Here's the first spot. Where we fished is all basically a bunch of gravel and boulders and some down trees, and we caught half of our fish here under this old train bridge. And now for the second spot. So here is the second spot. Now we're in some backwaters of the Mississippi River, and these fish that we found we were basically sight fishing all these fish, because we had to leave our bait, just drop it in front of the fish, and we had to watch and wait for the fish to put it in its mouth, and then we set the hook. So it's a lot of sight fishing, and we were fishing between the dock houses and the land. That's where these fish, and where the shallower water was, cleaner water was, where we could see down at the fish. This is the second spot. Alright, took us a little bit, but we found some biting fish. First little largemouth bass on a Apex fishing tackle swim bait jig head. Alright, let's get them on hook, put them back. Yeah, first one. Alright, putting this guy back. There he goes. Under an old train bridge, we're on like a big long gravel or rocky point. Boulders and gravel all kind of mix in, down twigs and trees and branches. Caught him right in front of here. So let's keep on going and see what else we can get. He ain't a 14 incher, he's under that, but that's the nicest largemouth bass. Had to switch up my technique. Been seeing all kinds of bass and northern and sunfish and red horse, just not biting. So I switched up my technique after I got that small one. I was using a whole Nightcrawler on a jig head. So a whole Nightcrawler on the jig head. And when I was going after bedding smallmouth. So alright, we found a technique that's working. That's the biggest one we caught. Right out in here, I seen them in the water. The water is so clear, but we're starting to get a little bit of rain, and what little bit of rain we got really messed everything up. They're just not biting. I seen hundreds and hundreds of fish, but they just won't bite. All right, so yeah, it's with who's yelling? Anyway, with this rain that's coming, that we've starting to get. We had a drought for almost like hardcore. We've been in a hardcore drought for a very long time. Still kind of am. But the rain is coming, but it's really messing the fishing up. So we're supposed to get another thunderstorm tomorrow. Like a pretty kind of all dayer on and off. Who knows how much rain we're going to get, but it's going to cause a lot of issues. This is the first spot. We're going to maybe go try some other spots. Just do basically what we're doing. It's the only way we're catching fish is sight fishing them, seeing them, and with the jig and the Nightcrawler. Otherwise, we might get lucky with like the lure or something with a small one, but them big ones, they just ain't doing nothing. We had like 3 to how many of them come falling up our bait. We had a northern fall up our bait, didn't do nothing, just swam away back. Sat there, stared at it, and swam away. It's really rough, so we're gonna try to keep going here. Right, just pulled up this guy. Gotta be pretty, almost probably 14 or over. Look at that jig head right on the top of the lip. Just bounced it right on it. This one did. I don't know. There we go. It is kind of a confusing day to me, if you ask me. Let's get them unhooked and put them back. All right, there you go. About 14 and a half or 15 inch larger. All right. All right, time for this guy to go back here. Oh. All right, we found the big one finally. Yes, we're in a whole different area. I don't know, whatever little area here, whatever you want to call it. We're just sight fishing them like we did in the other spot. 15 incher, their biggest one now. Let's go. Whole Nightcrawler on a jig head. I upgraded the size of the jig head though, bigger hook. So with largemouth, they have such a big mouth, so when they eat a bait with a little hook, you can actually have a harder time trying to hook the largemouth because they have such a big mouth. They can open that mouth so wide, and that little hook can just go right out without even touching anything of their mouth if they decide to open their mouth after biting it. So, all right, let's try to see if we can find some more. He was right down in there in the weeds, and I threw right out there in front of him a little bit, and he just came out. And that's the thing about all these fish I caught. Every one I caught today is when the Nightcrawler hit the bottom, and then they just bounced right on it, you know. So, all right. First smallmouth, just using a little jig, trying for a panfish. A lot of small little panfish I was catching there, and then he came. Little smallmouth on the jig head again, Nightcrawler. I knew I felt something crawling on my hands. Look at that little dude. Little caterpillar of some type. Look at that. Alright, you're getting a little bit too close to the leaf. It's time to come off. Now I'm going to talk about what I'm using here. Like I said, I upgraded the size of the jig head for a bigger one. And the line I'm using is 10-pound test Suffix Advance. Whole Nightcrawler on a jig head. Now, like I said, every time it hit the ground, they bounce right on it and just eat it. That's how I caught every one of them. Otherwise, if I'm jigging it or moving it, they don't seem to want it. That's just how they are. The rain just got them not like being normal. So here's this smallmouth on the tiny little jig head I was using for the panfish. I caught all kinds of little panfish, like just small ones, just all kinds of them, just not any with any size at all for panfish. But there's another bass on a jig head with a Nightcrawler again. Sure seems to be a thing this year, because earlier this year I went for a smallmouth on beds, and I just caught all kinds of big ones. The videos somewhere in the past, so you should go check that one out. That one's a banger. That one's amazing. This football smallmouth. All right, let's get into it, see what else we can get. All right, we're hooked into a nice one, a real nice one. Look at that one. Well, I got her right next to shore and it came off. I've been trying at that fish for probably an hour or more. That was a nice fish. A little disappointed. Yeah. But I think it's time to keep moving and see what else we can find in this day. So, yeah, it's it's pretty rough fishing. That rain just shut everything off. And you can see all kinds of bluegills and bass and sheephead, bullfins, red horse, suckerfish. Just most of them just won't do nothing. Well, like I said, it's rough. So we're making our way back to the vehicle now, taking the path that we took. So, almost done. Alright, we're hooked onto a small little, what is this? Smallmouth? Yeah, we got a little smallmouth again. Now we're back on the bass program. The bluegills are just being straight up annoying. They're all mostly all small. Alright, small little dude. Let's put him back. There you go. Smallmouth are my favorite.